You are a gift to humankind. I've had that statement on my website for a while now, but I thought today I'm going to tell you why and why I know that you are a gift to humankind. Well, you would have to be because you're human and you were born, so you have to be a gift. And you might be feeling that that gift is trying to emerge now because the energies have changed in the world. And so you're feeling like, wait a minute, I'm supposed to do that next thing in my life. And you are. And this would be the time that you would do it. And when you do that thing, that means that you're moving closer to your authentic self, meaning the reason that you were born. And when you figure that out and can live it and own it, then you will see that you are a gift to humankind. There's no soul that's born any less than another. So we have to think about that and go, why do I feel less? Why do I feel depressed? Why am I frightened? Why am I any of those things? It's because you just haven't discovered or owned that you are a gift to humankind. And obviously, my life was meant to tell you that. So that's what I've moved through. So we all have a purpose. And your purpose is to become yourself, is to love yourself, is to understand your life journey. And I was just given the way for you to be able to do that. I want you to understand something else. You were born at the perfect time also. There are no accidents in that. We were born into the universe at the right time for our soul's journey, and that time is coming up right now. And I know this because of the messages I have received to tell you. And it's really challenging for us at times to understand certain concepts because we've been taught certain things and we have very limited perceptions of what is possible or what we can do, which might be the reason that you have yet to discover that you are that gift and you have something that you're meant to bring. And this is the thing I want to say to you. Every single person has something within them that they're meant to bring to the world, and it would cause them to become happy, have everything that they want, except they have an evolutionary path that they may not have understood. I didn't understand mine, but that's why I am so helpful now. I'm going to read you a message that I was alerted to this morning. There's synchronicity in the universe. I just want to say that I've put out so many messages recently that had the same dates going on for different years. Because if you can imagine that we have a level of consciousness that we can accept that exists within us, but also that exists within the world. And so at certain times, as the world changes, as the energies, as the galaxies, all of that stuff change, then you change and you become something more. And this message will probably be might escape a lot of some people, but there's some people who will hear this and understand what is happening and why they are feeling the way that they are today. I'm saying that because you will feel the energies today. And this message is this, and it came through on, and let me just say this too. When I started receiving these in 2020, it was challenging for me because I said, no one's going to understand what I'm talking about because there is a synchronicity. So you see, this is on September 9th of 2020. You are attempting to become more. That statement is meant to make you aware of your constant and continual state of existence, even if you are only aware of this lifetime. Some of you will understand that sentence. We have told you there was a restructuring occurring in your world, and the United States would lead the way. The part you didn't consider is that the restructuring first begins with you. When we speak of the collective you now, please include yourself. You may look at world conditions and believe things are falling apart, yet they are not. Change that phrase to restructuring, and you will notice the effects of that in the increased awareness of your humanity. To many, it feels as if this is all too much to take. And that is what Roger has felt this morning, and he needed some support, as you all do. You have always had it, but not knowing that in the present moment causes you to become that present moment causes you to become more, which is occurring in you and your world. Roger knew we had given him something before that may help, and we will leave it with you all. August 23rd of 2013, you are the strongest person you know. While that statement is factually inaccurate, hopefully it will grab your attention enough for you to begin to recognize the strength you possess. All souls have this ability when they decide to access it, and there is no hierarchy of strength or difficulties and challenges in the universe. This escapes your awareness for two main reasons. First, When you are called upon to access your innate strength because of some challenge that faces you, that newfound strength becomes a part of your new evolved being, so you no longer notice it. Secondly, you compare yourself to others who, in your estimation, are going through something much more difficult than you. So it is difficult for you to imagine you could muster that strength. But in fact, you and all others are always do. Strength means accessing the unlimited potential of your being. Now that is not on my site because that's an old message, but I'm going to be putting more of those up because I need to explain why I know you are a gift to humankind. We're all born into the world to do something. I was obviously born into the world to live my life and bring in a new philosophy that could help others become who they're meant to be so that we all create a much better world. That's how evolution works, which is why I've been speaking of it so often. We can look at energy. We start to understand these things over time. We know that we don't live forever. So what are we waiting for? Because we've been taught something else. We've been taught limitation. So last night when I went to bed, before I went to bed, I was told, put this up. I didn't know why I was doing it, but that's how I listened to my intuition, which I've been doing for a while. But I'm going to explain this because I don't want anyone to think that you can't achieve greatness, because you can. And I know that because I was given all the tools that anyone could do it. And now I'm being asked to move forward as well in my life, which you are also. But I'm going to show you this photo. This is, you might have seen it before, but let me show it to you now. So that cabinet, that's my filing cabinet, which began in 1989 when I received my first message. And I'm going to show you that. But this is what I did every single day for more than 35 years, which was how I transcribed a philosophy, I guess. But that doesn't mean much unless you know what it produced. But I'm going to show you that first message because you will not trust yourself all the time. You won't believe yourself. You'll go through all of that stuff when you start discovering who you are. That's the only reason that you become a little insecure, you're not confident or any of those things, because part of your path is being revealed to you, but it may take you a while to accept that. Because again, you were a gift to humankind, so now we just got to figure out what that is. Okay, first of all, I want to show you this because this is another little gift that I made for you for today, and it says, it's time to move forward. And that's what I received last night. And so I was instructed just to put this together so you'll start to see that over time, we evolve in our consciousness, every single person, and also our collective consciousness. But when you read these, you will see that it'll kind of shift you. It's not everything. And then I also was inspired to do a little video. You can hear that as well. But if you think of this concept that you went to school, you started off in grade school, in kindergarten, there's a message in there that says this as well. And so then you start to learn certain things, and then you go to this other grade, and then you start to learn more. And then you go to high school or college or whatever you might do. Every single step, you're learning more because your consciousness has expanded. It's not that you did anything differently than anyone else. It's just that you decided that you were going to keep discovering who you were, and you wanted to get there. Now, sometimes you may get off track. I got off track many, many times, but that's because we weren't willing to follow that authentic self, and we thought we had to do everything else for everyone else. That's what we do all the time. So in 2020, when I knew things were changing and I started receiving messages like this, telling other people about that and what we would see in our world and why the United States would seem like it was going through a bit of turmoil, I knew that it was because we're supposed to become more. And that means that you were supposed to awaken to who you are so that you could add your energy, your light and love to the world. That's energy. When you start to study all of this in the sciences, and I've put up several videos recently talking about what we've discovered over time in terms of the sciences. Now, the one thing that I could never explain to anyone was the synchronicity. Carl Jung has talked about that, and this is why I wrote an article about that, because you will see that I've placed information in different, I was instructed to do this many different days where I just put in message after message, year after year, because you see that you will understand more of it. When I first began receiving this information, I didn't understand it all. And so I'm just writing it, and people said, told me I was its pure channel, but that was really challenging for me to accept as well, as what you have may be a little difficult, and it probably will surprise you when you finally decide that you're going to own it. And that's what goes on for all of us. And there's one thing that we must come to understand. And when I discovered that I was given all of this work and I was meant to bring it to the world, there was one message that I was told, that if more people can understand and accept this one, we would live this really great life. And then we would also create this really wonderful world. And this is the one. I'm going to leave all the links to these things in this video so you can see it, because I'm not going to do more of these. It's been exhausting where I am now. I'm 73 years old, so I have to put all of this together. I have, and to sit and say to people that I know you can live this great life, and I have everything that you need to be able to accomplish that. That was challenging, because people say that's delusional, that doesn't make sense. Except I'm saying that I've moved through everything, every difficulty that a human could possibly experience. I've done so many different businesses, so I understand business. I know so many other things, but it came to me from accessing a different level of consciousness, which is the thing that people ask me, well, what makes your program different? Because it connects you to who you are. I shared something last night because I received this wonderful little short testimonial from a member who's only been in my program for a little while. And she's like, how does this happen? How did I change this way? How did I feel so different? So I had to share that one, because that was the thing that I couldn't believe either. In 2021, when I first put this out there, because I said, I want people to understand what they can do. And I wasn't sure. And they came out and they're like, oh, wow, they were so different. But then that kind of surprised me. And then I stopped. I didn't stop. I just didn't finish what I could have. We never do, because it's that acceptance again. And this is why I put out something else. I said, self-acceptance is always the solution. And that's the last thing that we do, is accepting who we are, because we don't know what it is. And taking that journey can be scary. It can be frightening. Yeah, it was frightening for me for more than 20 years, which is why I didn't tell anyone what I was doing. But that was also a good thing, because see, I couldn't have proven this. I couldn't have talked to you about the mind-body healing that I started to discover, and things that people still can't understand how that happened. But I know that I'll spend the rest of my life documenting all of this, and this is what I'm going to put into the program. Many years ago, when I started talking about this, I was meeting with all these marketers, and they said, you should be charging $5,000. He said, well, I'm not quite ready yet. I wasn't, I needed to know. And that was years ago. But now, since then, and I'm seeing the results, I said, yeah, I'm going to do that. I have to get to that place, because I need to retire too. And I want to, but beyond that, I need to put all this work together, because I know how valuable it would be, not just for me, but for anyone who lives later. When we understand that our lives have meant something, and that we can give to others something, then we create a much different world. You see, because what I was told, that we would be moving through this difficult, challenging period in our world, which my guide Wilhelm called a restructuring. And what that's going to do, it's going to bring up all of our ugly stuff, because it's within all of us. We've existed. We've had bad things happen to us in this life, but also things that we don't remember. And so now what we're seeing is that all the old beliefs, ideologies, the limited thinking, and all of that are coming up all at once. And then when we don't decide to shift the energy within ourselves, then we have conflict. And I wasn't willing before to fully shift, but now I have to, because I also have an interview where I talked about this that's coming out on Wednesday, the 11th. And that was fascinating too, because I'll have to show you the message that I received for September 11th, which meant something to people in the United States. But we're all in the world to create something new and better than whatever existed before. And it's within you. And it's within every single person. I was just a person who was given the ability to move through my life and all these difficulties and challenges and all that horrible stuff, to come out to bring something to everyone else that could cause the world to be better. And the only problem anyone will have is that they won't believe that. I know, because I didn't believe it either. I even did a video a couple of years ago. I said I could become a billionaire and transform the world. And because the recognition of what was there, I mean, if you had people who were happy, who were loving themselves, who were abundant, because see, right now we don't have that, because we've been taught limitation and all the other things. And so you have something that you can change, that when you decide to love who you are, and do what you came to the world to do. Now, let me just give you this one last message because it's the most important one. And I want you to own it. And when you start to own it, you will know that your life has made sense. Your life has had meaning. And see, the last part of this message I couldn't do until just recently. So that's why I'm saying don't judge yourself if you can't get there right away. But let me find the message for you. Now I realize you probably won't be able to see this really well, but you'll be able to hear it. That's the most important thing. So this was January 11th, 2012. Your story is unique and valuable. It is unique because no other soul shares precisely your story. It holds the utmost value for you. Your story is comprised of everything your past holds, including all that has occurred for you, happened to you, everything you have done, every person you have met, and every word you have spoken. All of it has been and always will be perfect. Your only job then is to seek to know the perfection of your story. Any aspect of your particular story that you attempt to ignore, dismiss, or judge will cause you to experience some difficulty because you are refusing to receive the information and wisdom that your story holds. And that last paragraph is the one that was challenging for me, as it might be for you, because what happens is we start to judge ourselves because of the stuff that we've moved through instead of understanding those were things we accepted. And if we owned them and understood why they were there, then we have this glorious life because we've shifted the energy. And as I talk about the energy, I really want you to understand that because it's alignment. The first message I ever received was on February 19th of 1989. And that's what led to all of that cabinet that you saw. And through that time, I've gone through everything. So this is why I say to people, I know you can accomplish anything. And sometimes I get a little frustrated when I see people settle for less because I know what you can do, but it develops through your consciousness. I didn't do this right away. I didn't even finish it yet. So that's what happens. But I was also afraid of it, as you might have been afraid of yourself, because that very first message on February 19th was obviously a really pivotal time. Because if you search for February 19th, just do a Google search and see what events happened on that date throughout history. I mean, I'm talking about centuries. And that's talking about the alignment that we start to understand that exists in our world. Scientists and physicists and all those kinds of folks are figuring that stuff out still continually because we're knowing that we're all connected in some way. As humans, we don't get there right away. This is why we still have division and fighting and anger and all that, because we haven't gotten to that place of understanding that we're all born equal. That's what we're still working on. And I had the information, but to tell you that would be a challenge because you've probably been programmed to think that you're not this brilliant person that you could become. We all are. And if we would start doing that, we would see something very different in our world. But I'm going to show you something. It's on the site, anyadvicefortoday.com, and I'd like for you to go there because it's all put together for you. And it's called Accepting This Message Could Change Your Life and the World. See, because I knew then as well that that could possibly happen. But having you believe that would have been a bit challenging until we started seeing things happening in the world and you say, okay, maybe I better do something now. That's you. You have something that you're meant to do. And probably it's hitting you today. And I'm so glad I'm giving this to you because you'll understand it. But I'll show you that first message. So I don't want you to ever judge yourself for what you haven't done, you haven't gotten there, you haven't understood. It's always a process. So if you go to my website, anyadvicefortoday.com, you will see that February 19th of 2024, I put up the message, accepting this message will change your life and the world. I'm sure few people have read it because we live in this age where we keep running quickly to get to something, and so people aren't going to take the time to read it. I get that. If it's not a minute, we don't usually listen to it. Anyway, this is the first one. So they're all here, and you can just go through them and see every single one, February 19th. But it's okay. So on this date, yes, it is indeed wise for you to realize how powerful you are and also to acknowledge the innate benevolence of your being. You seem to consistently maintain a subtle fear that somehow you would use your power in an ego-oriented way to the detriment of others. The truth for you is exactly the opposite. For the more you gain, you give away. The anger you sense or hostility at times, as you have also been aware of, is not truly directed at others, but merely a reflection of your inner frustration with the intellectual knowledge of your power and your simultaneous restriction of that power, which causes friction. It is everyone's power to do with as they please, and your individual way is becoming more clear and purposeful for you. Be careful of the instilled limitations which would not have you own your worth. Relax and enjoy. Now, you see, that came through then, and I said I didn't understand all of that, and I was afraid of it, and I had this power. That doesn't make sense. But then I did give it all away, and that's what I've been doing for all of my life because I had to. I just need people to understand. And so I spent years and years and years just kind of giving it away and also moving through all the other stuff that gave me the ability to develop techniques that no one else has to suffer. And I can say that because if you decided to take the steps and move into who you're meant to be, you would never struggle or suffer at any of that stuff. Because you keep changing your mind. That's all that it is, ever. And I want you to understand that because you will see that I'm going to this. You can check September 11th on any advice for today. Just look at that date and you'll see it. And then the other thing that I'm doing, because that's when that interview is going to be released. So my life is going to change in a big way because I had hidden. We all hide from ourselves in different ways. I had done it because I was the reluctant mystic. So you hide. You've hidden from yourself. You'd have to because then there wouldn't be more for you to do if you hadn't done that. That's all. So we have to let go of the judgment of it, however. Anyhow, so then on October 19th, I'm going back to Gaia and I'm doing a channeling conference, which everyone will be able to attend. And I'll give you that information. I'll you can leave a banner here in this video. You will be able to watch it for free. I'll have all that information. So but what I'm talking about on October 19th is also on the website, Any Advice for Today. And when you read it, it'll give you a little bit of understanding because we're moving through stuff that's old in all of us and in our world. And the more of us who decide to become own our gifts, we change everything. And that's what this work is. So I just wanted you to have this. Please subscribe to the channel if you haven't done that. But I just want you to know that you were born with this gift. You are a gift to humankind. There are no exceptions to that. And the only exception that we make is when we choose to not own who we are and move into the direction of our higher self or our evolvement, because that's for every single person. See you soon.